This was a great episode that felt very full of story and action and just, man, some of the characters that you see going up against this Scar are unbelievable. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Episode 5, Reign of Sorrows. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim.
And I'm James.
And we are here together today to bring you another review on the awesome, blood-curdling, and scar-filled tale
of Fullmetal Alchemist
Brotherhood. Now, our last episode, of course, kind of, it was really pretty creepy with what happened with that Shao Tucker and just the sort of crazy science experiments that he was doing, basically, with the bioalchemy. But it started and ended with us being introduced to this new character who they wind up actually giving a temporary name, albeit in this episode, and they call him Scar, obviously, for the actual Scar that he has on his head. But the episode obviously wound up ending up with him going to Shao Tucker. This guy's been on this tear, killing state alchemists. And the episode ended off with him, of course, killing Shao Tucker and the weird chimera thingy, you know, his daughter Nina and the dog.
Nina Xander.
And that's how things ended off with him going and talking about God, we're sending him up to you and this and that, and that's how the episode, you know, left off. The episode picks up, and I thought it was kind of creepy because at first I thought it was cool. It was a little flashback. It looked like Edward was having a little flashback, you know, and he's his mom, and he baked her some cookies, or he made her a little trinket or whatever, using alchemy. And the next thing you know, man, it's like he's in this nightmare. You know, you just see these teeth and these eyes and stuff, and then he turns and so you can tell it's a nightmare, and he winds up waking up in a cold sweat from it. You know, he winds up also seeing Nina and Alexander, and he's just. But what this did is it kind of segued into him going and then him and Al going and asking Riza? Right, was
Riza Hawkeye.
Riza Hawkeye wound up asking her, like, hey, what happened to Shao Tucker? And of course, well, mainly with Nina and stuff like that. And she says, hey, listen, they were killed. They were murdered, you know, last night. So that's kind of how Al and Edward find out about this character, this guy Scar, and that he's kind of on a rampage. He's killed just in the central area, like, five alchemists.
People, and then altogether 10.
Altogether 10, all over. But then what winds up happening is we actually get a little bit of revisit from Lior. Lior, is it? The town of Lior. And, of course, the events that happen in the third episode with Father Cornello. So if you'd like to explain some of that.
Of course, Father Cornello's, he's basically preaching to everybody about, like, how heretics, like, sent out these lies about him, and there's certain people preaching in the giant crowd, like, he's a fake, he's a liar, and everything. And, of course, we saw, like, an episode or two before, I mean, Father Cornello died.
Yeah, the crazy chick put her finger through his head or whatever, you know, and even though it kind of happened off camera, his body fell lifeless to the ground. So that's why I was kind of like, what? You know, what's this guy doing here? But she winds up. So basically, it seems like this imposter father or whatever, you know, because the lipstick comes off the pig quickly. We see it's not actually him. It's one of the minions of this female character, and the female character that killed the Father Cornello, and we saw briefly in a couple episodes. She's got that one pet, gluttony, one of the 7 deadly sins that just likes to eat everything. He's like, oh, can I eat people? And I thought that was a little goofy. You know, it sounded like Scooby-Doo and wanted to eat people. But then we find out that the Father Cornello is actually Envy, one of her other minions, I guess. But basically, it seemed like he was trying to get people riled up, maybe to start riots or not, because people are fighting in the streets, and it looks like chaos, like a war zone.
Like everybody seems to be like fighting each other and crap. And just one quick question, guys, because we don't know. Is Envy a guy or a girl?
And then we go and we're taken to Al and Edward, who are just kind of chilling for whatever reason on this top of this tower.
Yeah, they're just kind of sad. They're just kind of sitting down at like a bench.
Yeah, obviously because of finding out that they, you know, that even that there's this guy on the loose, and that of course they're, you know, that not that they don't care so much about that Shao Tucker, but obviously that Nina probably, yeah. So I think kind of reflecting on things, but then they're ambushed by the scar-toting dude. And this guy's on some next level stuff, man. This guy's, because you see from that point to the end of the episode, for the most part, with the last minute or two, with the exception of the last minute or two, it's just all action. It's all action. He just starts coming after him. You know, Al winds up going and saving Edward's ass as the guy goes to nail him with his little hand of God thing that he likes to go and hit him. And this guy's chasing them all down the building. They're trying to get down. And this guy, what they figure out pretty quickly, and it's a little bit later on in the episode they talk about, is that with alchemy, it's deconstructing and reconstructing things. This guy just deconstructs, right?
Yeah,
he just basically just tears stuff down. He just basically tears stuff down. And the funny part is the whole time he keeps talking about all this like justice of God and the non-believers and everything else. And for me, it's kind of a contradiction because here he's talking about and targeting these alchemists because it's like blasphemy against God to be using this alchemy. It's like playing God, right? Yeah. But he's an alchemist himself, you know. So it's kind of like all right, buddy. Sorry, I can't really take you seriously when you're kind of, you know, you got your fingers in the cookie jar too, you know. Yeah. So. But what did you think about the fight, though? Because this brawl ensued, and I mean, there was a point where Al and Edward came at him, and Al winds up getting nailed, and half his armor gets kind of blown apart or whatever. Like... Edward goes and gets his arm just torn off, or just taken like away. Blown off. And I mean, and basically, and Al's screaming, you know, run, Edward, run. And this guy is over him, and Edward's like, I mean, he's like a nut hair from just being out of existence, right? Like this, like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood almost ended, like period, because there was almost no more Fullmetal Alchemist.
That was a close one.
And then, of course, but the battle kind of evolves, you know. And then all of a sudden, there's a bunch of the whatever you call these, the state alchemists, and they're kind of their police force and whatnot. Roy Mustang's there, and Hawkeye's there, Rise of Hawkeye. And Roy Mustang, he's the flame alchemist.
The flame alchemist.
But as far as the fight goes and it evolves, the battle kind of goes on, and then Rise is trying to shoot him. They're trying to shoot this guy. This guy's superhumanly fast.
Yeah,
this guy's Scar guy. And then, what's his name? Louis Armstrong?
Alex Louis Armstrong.
Alex Louis Armstrong. Dude, this guy's awesome. He's got the Raleigh fingers mustache where it's like Captain
and
Hook,
he's got that like one little baby hair.
It's hilarious, though, you know. But this dude is huge. He's a beast, right? And I know a lot of people have said in the comments, this guy's awesome, and this guy's great. And but we hadn't seen him much, obviously, until this point. And he comes toe-to-toe with this dude, and even he's having trouble getting it. I mean, this guy's fast. This guy's Scar. He's not landing any blows on him or whatever, and eventually he winds up escaping narrowly. But then after he gets shot at a couple times again by Ryza, she just grazes him, right? And some blood comes out of him. What I didn't get is then all of a sudden they go and they say, oh, it's a, what do they call him?
They see his red eyes, and it's like, oh, he's an Ishvalan.
Oh, an Ishvalan. Okay, it's because they see the eyes. Okay, that's what I didn't get, because it happened so quick. I thought it was like, well, what does him bleeding have to do with this? What's it called again? What are they called? The Ishvalan?
Ishvalan, yeah, because they have red eyes and brown skin.
They got red eyes. Okay, I got you. All right, so if that isn't racist. But anyway, you know, then I don't know what it is. They've got red eyes and brown skin. Oh, okay, I see. Dark vampires. Anyway, Puerto Rican vampires. Yeah. But anyway, so for all you viewers there, all half of you in Puerto Rico, we're sorry about that. We love Puerto Ricans. We love everybody. But what was your favorite part of the battle is what I meant to ask you about this whole thing as the battle evolved, because I mean, I enjoyed it.
I can't really tell exactly what my favorite part of the battle is. I kind of like even though it's not exactly well, it's a mini battle, but I mean, the Armstrong Alchemist and Scar when they're kind of fighting.
Oh yeah, when they're going at it.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And I like the comedy too, because Armstrong goes and pops his shirt off.
Yeah,
right?
he's just like.
The comedy was great because it starts out right where Ryza Roy Mustang goes and he says, "Stay out of this. This is mine," right? And as he's coming at the dude, Ryza goes and pulls him back, and then goes and starts shooting at this dude, right?
Yeah, because he's just like.
And then she goes and she's like, "You're completely worthless or useless in the rain," right? And I thought I love that. The little subtitle comes that says "useless." You know?
And like the Japanese or Chinese where bubbles come up and hit him in the head.
Because obviously, if you're flame based, you're not going to be very good in the pouring rain, right? And it's like he completely slipped his mind. It seemed like so the comedy was there, it was great, but it wasn't too overdone. But then when Armstrong comes out, right, he goes and busts off his shirt, man, and he's like, da, 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 and it's hilarious. It looks like a commercial for like some kind of like steroids or some stuff, like protein drink, because it's like the camera's panning down his glistening muscles and stuff, you know. And they're like, does he have to take his shirt off? And then what does one of the guys say? He says, he's got to be a little crazy to.
Yeah, he's like, it really doesn't matter. He's already insane or something.
Yeah, he's already insane, you know. I thought it was great though, the whole action scene and everything. And then afterwards, this Scar, this Ishvalan, Ishvalan winds up going, creating a hole in the ground, goes down into the ground or whatever, and he's gone. He escapes, right? He escapes. And we get a little bit of a background on the Ishvalan, which I thought was kind of cool. Their country that they were from Were they just like crazy right-wing religious fanatics or
they
something
were
like that?
kind of like religious and everything like that.
Like
and
fanatics, you know what I mean?
Yeah, nothing too bad was happening.
Like you don't wipe out a country because they believe in God, you know. I mean, technically, you wouldn't do something like that, but it's because they were like fanatics about it, right? They were fanatical.
Yeah, and I think it all started because apparently a military soldier accidentally shot a little kid. The only reason I say accidentally is because how can you accidentally like pull your gun and shoot someone?
That's what triggered the war, is what it was, right? And then they went and they sent in a bunch of state alchemists as this conflict spread throughout the region. They sent in a bunch of the state alchemists to basically just go in and butcher people, right?
Yeah,
and Roy Mustang was one of them, because you see all that. So I like that whole background, and this is fallen. Now I don't know how this Scar got all these powers and everything else. That's going to remain to be seen.
Yeah, hopefully we figure that out soon.
Yeah, that's going to remain to be seen, but it's certainly, I thought it was very cool, and there's this nice backstory and whatnot, so I hope we kind of delve into that a little bit more in the future episodes. And also, for me, one of the big themes, and I think that was gonna wrap around and translate to your episode question, but one of the themes was afterwards, even though it was very comedic the way it happened, Edward goes to Al, he's minus his arm, obviously now his alchemy arm, his metal arm, and he goes to Al, and he's, oh man, are you okay? And Al just starts like, just hauling off, he's hitting him, he's just wailing him, yelling at him, because he's like, why didn't you run when I told you to, you know? And he tries to explain to him that you don't understand, like, if you die, you need to learn the stuff that you can do to go and get my body back and to restore you. You have the mind for that. If you go and sacrifice yourself for some bullshit, it's not gonna. So I understand both their points of view. You know what I mean? Because I have brothers. I also have kids. I would never leave somebody behind. But I understand where Al's coming from too, because he's thinking you got to think about the bigger picture, Ed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but what did you think about that whole situation? And then that's obviously how the episode ends off for the most part. They know that they're going after and be looking for this Scar and everything like that. But what were your thoughts on just the kind of that exchange between the two?
I mean, they sort of went for it at first for like comedical, but then afterwards they kind of had it like sort of solemn, like with just the way they did it, because Al
it was solemn. It was very touching. Afterwards, it was like, hey, don't do that to me. You know, it started out trying to make you laugh, but
and then in the end, it also made you laugh, because then Al's other arm fell off, and he's like, oh come on, now I can't beat you up because my stupid brother made me lose my arm.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
He started acting like an 8-year-old kid.
Yeah, right. When you got to remember that, I mean, he was, when this happened a few years back, and they tried to get their, Ed was 11. Al was probably, what, 6, 7,
10,
8?
10,
Oh, he's 10.
Yeah, because I think they're only like 8
okay, either way, though, it's still, I mean, it's you're younger. You're going to be 14 next month. I mean, it's got to be rough. I mean, you still have that childlike nature to you. Want to do that stuff. I'm 36, and there's times that I just want to go and act like I'm 5 or 10, so like almost every
Well, you already do, so.
Okay. So what's your episode question, then, if we may?
Well, the episode question is about Al. Like, would you have just like left him if he told you to leave him? If it was your brother and he like told you to leave him because you can do great things or something like that, would you leave him, or would you still stay and do the same thing that Ed did?
I think the easiest, simplest way of putting it is, if you were in that type of situation, would you leave a brother or sister or whatever behind? Or would you say roll the dice and take your chances? I mean, but we'd like to know what your answer is to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you should think that he and I and we deserve it. And of course, subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation. Both James and I appreciate your continued support. Thanks for watching.